Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Let's Take It Offline. You're here today with Tina Tran. My two fabulous co-hosts have life stuff to do, apparently. So we're here today just by myself and our very special guest, Michelle Reeves. So I met Michelle actually through work. So within my sort of role in the startup and VC community at work. And when I met Michelle, I thought, wow, like she's just so impressive. And not just what you do with your career, but also your style and the fashion that you bring into tech as well. So I love that. So Michelle is here today to share with us a bit about her career to date. What I thought was so fascinating about Michelle's career is that she's actually gone through so many pivots within her career. We talked about the concept of a portfolio career, and that's something that I'm aspiring to do for myself as well. Today is as much about sharing with our audience as much as me having a one-on-one mentoring session with you. But Michelle is a multi-time founder and actually lived most of your life in the US.
Yeah, I'd say that first half in Australia and the second half in the US, and now I've returned.
Yeah, stuck here.
If you're going to be stuck somewhere, this is the place to do that.
Not a bad place to be. Yeah.
Yes.
And Michelle's also one of the 4 co-founders of Women Who Innovate, a very inspiring community of women who are trailblazers in the area, whether it's tech, fashion, media, sports. And so, yeah, it's a privilege to have Michelle here on the podcast today. Welcome.
Thank you. I feel the same way. I know when I first met you, I was thoroughly impressed. We met on the Google campus, and it was an extraordinary event where your team had brought together a room full of female leaders, executives, technical officers, and to bring us all together in one room in Sydney. It sounds obvious, but it's not done very often, and it's not done very well most of the time. And so I was really grateful that you did that and that we had the great opportunity to meet too.
Yeah, and then I learned about what you do with Women Who Innovate, and I thought, wow, for you and your other 3 co-founders to come up with that, execute it, on top of what is already a busy life for you, you all have inspiring careers and other commitments as well. But let's start with maybe a quick introduction. I know this is going to be long because you have quite a list of things that you've done with your life and your career. But yeah, can you tell us a bit more about Michelle and how you got here today?
I think you're right. I'm someone who doesn't like to sit still, but I actually think that's true of so many women I know in the industry. It's just that the outside world has wanted to pigeonhole us into these singular titles or roles for so long. I think the best way to describe me is someone who is very comfortable in the uncomfortable corners where others shy away from when it comes to emerging tech. So if I think back to 100 years ago in 2007, I feel like no one was born yet, and I was the only one here. And I was in the US working for IMG, a big sports entertainment agency, and our clients were people like Roger Federer, Tiger Woods, Heidi Klum. And my job was to look for innovation in ways that we could commercialize our talent, obviously driving revenue and expanding their brand. And there's this thing called Facebook that's out there.
I remember that, yes. Try to sign up, and didn't you have to get like a referral friend to get you into the platform?
Maybe. I was in San Francisco, so I was already inside the inner hub. But going down on campus and trying to educate our agents and our talent managers about this thing of social media, and their initial responses were very negative. It's a scam, it's a fad, it's a liability. We could never have the talent communicate directly with the public. We'll be sued, we'll lose our sponsors, we're not going to make money. Those were a lot of the reactions people went to right away. And I think I'm just someone who can very quickly connect the dots with new technology to understand, how can this actually drive value? How can it create impact that is meaningful, that is profitable, that adds value to consumers and brands, particularly in the consumer landscape? Of course, we all know how that story ended. I almost feel like I think I might still be an admin on Heidi Klum's page.
Oh.
So she might want to update that.
Heidi Klum, if you're listening, make sure you check your Facebook account.
Yes, I will not do anything untoward, I promise. And so I think I've just always been really excited about the possibility of what if. While I was at IMG, I started my first solo endeavor as an entrepreneur. I launched a wine company in California, which back then in 2006 was really weird to sell wine online.
Oh, wow.
Everybody wanted the tasting room. They wanted the wine scores and the magazines from Wine Spectator to validate it. And here I was wanting to promote it online and ship it across country through a website. And being early in that space, again, I think just opened my eyes to new possibilities.
Yeah.
I created the world's first touch trademark, reinventing packaging in the wine space. And from there, I got bit. I was bit by this idea that you could build a business and create this new thing that would help other people.
This entrepreneurship, like venom, just spread across your body, and you're like, oh, it's in my blood now.
I like that you call it venom, because it is. It fuels you and quietly kills you. And in all the right ways that keep you waking up in the morning, day after day, hungrier and hungrier.
Yeah.
So I've now launched and been a part of several companies, mostly within tech, all within consumer, in fashion, retail, beauty, lifestyle, and most recently within the Web3 space and blockchain, and now AI. And I kind of love where the story is getting so exciting that in addition to my longevity as a founder, I think about longevity in my health, because I don't want to miss a minute of the show. Like, what happens in 100 years? I want to be here to see how it goes down.
Yeah, wouldn't it be so amazing in 100 years we can do a reunion episode?
Yes.
And we talk about, do you remember 100 years ago in 2024, we were in Bondi having a matcha, talking about AI, and then at that point in time, what will be the technology of the day? Amazing. So now you landed in crypto, Web3, consumer, fashion, and you can't share too much right now because you've got big plans ahead of you. But can you explain, because I feel like Web3 and crypto is such a word that's been thrown around so much. And as consumer, like I know that I invest a little bit in Bitcoin because I heard that's the thing to do. But what got you excited about Bitcoin, or how did you see the opportunity with Bitcoin and crypto and what the applications are?
Yep, great question. I've always been interested in passive investments, the idea that you can't save yourself wealthy. And so it doesn't matter how much you budget if your dollars are not working for you. So early on, I was really interested in the stock market. And then as I went through my 20s, early 30s, in 2016, really dove into crypto and started investing in Bitcoin back then. So not super early, but probably earlier than most people. And I was hungry for more knowledge. And back then in 2016, it was so rare to find anyone who you could talk to about Bitcoin. You would have to go and seek them out. And there was a company in Portland, Oregon, where I was living at the time. And they were like the Dow Jones of cryptocurrencies. And I remember going to their office, just rainy day during the week, turning up and being like, I just want to talk to somebody about crypto, and I'll be an intern. I will do whatever you want to do. I just want to learn so that I can more thoughtfully invest. And they humored me, and we had some meetings, and we just became friendly across email, sharing different information and articles as they were coming out. And I think just in that time frame, I realized this has to be an important part of a diverse portfolio if you're thinking about long-term wealth and the creation of what's to come. I knew that this thing was not going away. I didn't think it was going to be a get-rich-quick thing. This was obviously something that was very new. Governments were still very shy. Regulation was just such a hot word. And the process to buy Bitcoin back then was so clunky. It was sweat-inducing.
There was no Coinbase. There was no...
actually, there was Coinbase,
Finance.
And that's where I did purchase my first.
There you go.
Through
it's not
Coinbase.
A pay ad.
No, I am a Coinbase from day one, but it was really clunky. It was a horrible experience. I was sweating, adrenaline pumping through me. I think my husband was like, are you having a stroke? And I was like, probably. And I don't know if I've just like given away all of our bank details to buy some Bitcoin, and now we're going to be, destitute. But thankfully, it didn't work out that way. So Coinbase, not a scam. It was great. I think just with some skin in the game, that's really important. And I say to anyone who's remotely interested, if you're curious enough to ask, get skin in the game. I don't care if you buy $10, $100 worth of a cryptocurrency. Have something, because what that will do is subconsciously, when you come across crypto news in your feed, you'll read the headline and then you'll want to read the first paragraph and then you'll start educating yourself more and you'll open your mind. And then once you've opened your mind, you're going to see that crypto has incredible opportunities in commerce, in verification, as a protocol for the future of all tech. This thing called crypto, which operates on blockchain, are things that you're going to piece together and realize there's a huge story here and it's going to be a really important part of all of our lives. So I'm really excited for what that can do now, not just out of financial gain, but out of the backbone of business. And the one anecdote that I kind of love to share, my co-founder at Women Who Innovate, Gina, said this at one of our events recently. Back in 2000, people would talk about ATMs as being for pimps and drug dealers, because who can't look their bank teller in the eye and make a withdrawal or a deposit? ATMs are the sin of the financial gods. And it's just history repeating itself again. With, crypto is the new dark space. But it's not. It has a lot of value too.
Yeah. And so just from the two stories you've told so far about your career pivots, I could see that you've got a really good nose for what's next. So how have you picked those areas where you think, oh, wait, hold on, it looks like a scam now, but I think there's something more to it than just a scam. Like, how do you pick out the areas where to pursue next?
I feel like you've just given me ideas and inspiration for a book title. Like, is it a scam or the next revolution that will free us all? I don't know. It could go either way. So for me, I've spent the past 2 years speaking at a lot of events, mostly in North America, and then working a lot with Fortune 500 companies who are curious to understand what new technology like blockchain, crypto, and things like AR, AI can have in their business, and upskilling their product and their marketing teams. And this is mostly within fashion and beauty. And what I've realized in having these conversations and these workshops is the need for co-creation is going to be the future of everything. For the past, let's call it 15 years, or not even, let's call it 12 years, we've been living in this user-generated content space. So right now we could take a picture, and we'll post it to TikTok and Instagram, and we'll tag our clothes and our earrings and the salon that did our hair. And they love that for us, but they love us for that, because we are the free marketing storytellers for their brands. Gen Z have no interest in being the co-creators of marketing. They want to be the co-creators and co-owners of the product, the culture, the brand, and they're already doing it. So this hunch and what I was seeing for the past 2 years really crystallized when we finally had some numbers to chew on, which when Roblox shared their report in December, they revealed that 58 billion hours was spent last year alone from people aged 16 and under creating digital fashion. They are so native and comfortable in the space of bringing their ideas to life in a digital landscape, that they're going to grow out of Roblox. They're going to mature, and they're going to want to take this behavior and put it somewhere else. So where else in their digital lives can that live? E-commerce. And so the future of commerce is going to have to shapeshift into user-generated products. And it's not enough just to take those ideas from consumers, because Lord knows brands have been doing that pretty well. It's heartbreaking to see all those independent designers and artists put their creative out there to have it ripped off within 24 hours and duped with every factory. So it's the ownership that has to come to, the co-ownership. And that's where blockchain comes in, because blockchain is a truth serum in technology. If you were to create something and put it on blockchain, no one can ever dispute that, Tina, you don't own that. It is your verification for IP ownership. And if any brand tries to take it now, you've got real backing to support you. So I'm working on some great things that I'm excited about with the future of commerce and co-creation. And I love where this is headed. Our first tests have been going out, and what's been really inspiring to me are the responses from people where they've been having all these pent-up ideas for years and never had the ability or the tools to easily get it out. So when they say things like, wow, I created that, that's meaningful, that's powerful. And as women too, like we've had these life events, right? Our formals, our weddings, our sister's wedding, or whatever it is.
Yeah, hens,
and
fish and tea.
And you go out looking for the dress in your mind, right? You're like, I really want this like pink or blue or green or whatever it is thing that looks a certain way and falls a certain way. And you spend hours walking, looking, searching, scrolling, and then you settle for something that's close enough.
Yeah.
Now you can just create it.
And I love that so much. And I think this is where AI has been, like, I've been having some conversations with a few people in the last few days about the future of creativity. And I think it actually opened doors for a lot of people, like me, who can't draw, for example. And growing up, my mom actually had a business in textile and clothing. And so I used to always watch fashion shows, and then I tried to like sketch, and I can't draw for my life. And now having heard about all the new things coming out with AI and what you're doing, I'm like, oh my God, finally I can actually put what is in my head onto a picture, onto a video, which I could never do before.
Nope.
Because I didn't have the talent to draw. But even though in my head, I can see it so well.
And also too, there's the skill set that could be learned through education that not everyone has access to go and have a specialty in a certain fashion or design school. But even then, you've got people who are in remote areas with no access to materials. Great, I've got the ability, I've got the design, and I want to bring it to life. If you live in the middle of nowhere, there's no fabric store that you can go and, secure the materials that you need.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't have the capital to do it either. So this can be a really cost-effective way for anyone. I guess what I think about is the best talent can win, not just those with the right education, who live in the right cities, who have the right network or have the right job. Best ideas get to the top.
And what I love about what you just shared there is the fact that we talk so much about, will AI take away the jobs? Will AI, change our lives in negative ways? But you can also find very positive implications of AI in leveling that playing field for people who don't have access.
Okay, I have the best story to tell you of how AI has actually done exactly that. It didn't replace jobs, it's created.
Yeah.
So I have been, of course, following, and I'm deep in the AI design world of watching and connecting with great designers.
Yeah.
And there's one woman, her name is Opie, and she's based in New York in the US. And we connected, and I asked, what's your story here? You're so talented. I'm seeing all your gorgeous AI fashion designs on socials. How are you doing this? Her story is remarkable. She started as a stylist for Century 21, which is a big department store in New York. During the pandemic, it shut down. And so sitting at home, she of course lost her job, and she started teaching herself about AI and how to create fashion using these tools from her laptop in her living room. And being able to do that, she realized for all those years, she was called on set to help as a stylist pull looks for different shoots. But when she was pulling those looks, she had a vision in her mind of how this would come to life. But by the time the finished product would actually come out with the image, it had gone through the photographer, the hair and makeup team, the location team, the client, lighting, filters, and it gets warped and changed 12 different ways, going through 12 different lenses. So the final look was never what she would have thought it would be, and never matched in her mind. Now, as an AI designer, she is the hair, makeup, location, style expert.
Her whole vision.
She's everything, and it's exactly what she wants it to be. And she's now one of the top AI fashion designers in the world, and she is commissioned by top brands, creating works that are being used in metaverses and gaming, and are sometimes now put into physical production from her AI creations.
Yeah.
So I think it's how you look at the lens of what AI can do and use it to your advantage.
Yeah. And it's so refreshing as well, because I work in tech and you work a lot with tech founders or technical audience. And it's so refreshing to see a different angle, because I think we were saying before, a lot of the time the application of AI can be quite productive, but not necessarily super interesting or sexy.
Yes.
And I love that you're bringing that color of like fashion, consumers and engagement to the world of AI, which is so good to see.
I just want people to enjoy how they spend their time online. And We have such limited free time now. Our families are usually split globally. We have family commitments, we've got work commitments. And I think about that's where this idea of this almost portfolio career came to light for me. In we want to maximize what we're doing, not just dispense of our time and fill it. So make it productive.
And that's such a great segue, because I think we have all come to accept that in our lifetime, we might rotate through a bunch of different careers. I think gone are the days where people choose one profession, whether it's accountant or whether it's lawyer, and then stick with that. Like, I met so many women who have pivoted throughout their lives, and you are such a master at that in your own way. Can you define what a portfolio career is for our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So portfolio career is having, as you said, not just this one title that you're boxed into and one role. We are multidimensional beings. We grow, we mature, we change, we add new interests, and we discover new talents. Who we are when we graduate high school versus university is often what we've been told, which is what strengths other people saw in us. Oh, you're really good at science, or you're a really great writer, or the opposite, you're not a very good writer. And so you put that block in your mind, and so you don't pursue those initiatives because you're not a good writer, apparently, or you're only a good writer, so you just lean into that. And over time, life experiences change that, and you realize, actually, I am a good writer. She just didn't like what I was doing. Or in addition to being a great writer, I'm awesome at certain kinds of artistic endeavors. Portfolio careers are where you have different currencies that fill your life and allow you to share those different talents. And the currencies in life are, I think, really important to identify beyond capital. Yes, we need financial security. We have to pay our bills. So you want to have a role in your portfolio of your careers that brings in money to pay your bills. That is foundation number one. Eat, live somewhere securely, make sure you have healthcare, and cover those needs. But then you have the currency of your network. So what are you doing every day or every week or on a regular basis that expands who you're interacting with so that your mind grows and your ability to shine can grow and your ability to learn can grow? So the currency of network and learning. And I think about those kinds of roles being, how can you put yourself in a room where you can contribute, and how can you put yourself in a room where all you can do is listen and absorb and make yourself better. And that's for me where I think Women Who Innovate came about. I was speaking around the world, but never here in Australia. And I realized I had this great network of people I work with from top companies in the US and in Europe. How can I create bridges so that people here in Australia can benefit from their knowledge? And then also, how can I be in a room with these brilliant women of Australia and learn myself? So Women Who Innovate brings together women who are innovating not just in tech, but in sports, retail, finance, business, media, entertainment, everything, things I know nothing about. Educate me too. So if I can contribute and we can exchange, that's fantastic. Think about your currency for creative endeavors. Think about your currency for how you're going to drive health and wellness. What is the thing that you need to make sure you're doing every single day in a role that doesn't just pin you to a desk or have you sitting behind a screen? And so for me, that's my speaking, going out and speaking and educating at schools. I'm up, I'm walking, I'm talking, I'm traveling, I'm seeing different cities. That actually fills for me a wellness bucket, seeing at different locations. And then when I'm there, making sure I go for a walk and explore a new corner of the city. Even here in Sydney, been to Sydney a million times. I've lived here, but I try and choose a hotel in a different spot every single time where I don't know where to go to get a coffee, and I haven't explored this little part of Japantown or Koreatown or this new development area, and just to walk and absorb. So think about your career as a portfolio and a collection that can bring you value, but is constantly creating an opportunity for you to put your value out there. And it will really continue to, I think, churn your engine. And the final one I think to make sure you do is to have a portfolio, have a career that is pushing you so far outside of your comfort zone. And for me, that's my latest initiative in AI. I'm definitely not a technical founder. I just play one on TV, I feel. But by osmosis almost, I'm constantly reading, learning, talking, and having to understand what these concepts are for my business. So I'm becoming a technical founder as a result of that. And that for me, especially as a startup where, as a founder, you don't get paid. There's no guarantee of success, but I can guarantee my brain is getting bigger and more interesting, and it's growing into a new shape because of this.
And I think there's the statistics where you only, and probably one of our friends, Christina, can actually explain this way better. You're probably only using 10% of your brain capacity.
Which is wild, right?
There's so much potential there, and we're just not even tapping into any of that.
I can only imagine when we've figured out how to access those chambers of our brain, what we're fully capable of.
It's crazy.
Yes.
So you talked about like the portfolio career, how to, I love the currencies that you mentioned as well, because as you said, even though you're not a technical founder, through your network, you can also meet people who can help you get there and be as technical as you need to be, or even help you build your business. What other ways would you do if you have your eyes on one career? Like, how do you maneuver yourself there to get to where you want to be? I'm really curious, the in-between journey, right? Because you talked about, I worked at IMG, started my wine business, and then now I've got my eye on AI and doing something there. How did you pivot yourself?
Pivot's a really interesting word, and I don't know if that is even the right one that I think of. I think it's more this in addition to. In addition to doing this one day, I'm now also doing this. Or I'm no longer doing that because it's irrelevant and my time is better spent focused in this area. I think that right now, the strategy I articulate, I guess, how I operate is, if life is this balance sheet, it's not just how am I making money, it's how am I spending my time. And I think everyone, whether you're a founder or you're part of a team in an existing company, should be thinking in that way. There's no reason why you can't start something. We have all the tools necessary. We've seen an explosion of people who are now their own news anchors. Even this right now. We can create our own news channel by doing this and sharing perspectives and sharing the news and the headlines. Most people aren't getting their news from the Sydney Morning Herald. They're getting it from their news feeds, which is other people resharing headlines from all kinds of contributing editors, some better than others, some more credible than others. So I think it's this breakaway from understanding that this track that we've been trained to think about of schooling, tertiary education, and a structure of corporate success and promotion, it's there, and there are these other lanes you have to swim in as well. And you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't swim in every single one of your lanes. And the number one way to get yourself motivated to do that is to stop caring what anyone else thinks. And that's the biggest tip for anyone, because when you don't care, you have nothing to lose. I check my pride at the door. If people think I'm insane or crazy or my idea sucks, that's cool.
Click that away.
Like, just don't follow me then. Don't buy my thing then. That's okay. Yeah, I think you've got to stop caring what other people think. And the best quote is, other people's opinions of you are none of your business. That's it.
That is so powerful, because I think a lot of us, and I personally, I've had so many ideas, started, stopped again. And just recently, I've come across a few quotes similar to what you were saying around, don't care about what other people think. This is what you do for yourself. And I think that is such a powerful thing or place to start from, because even with this podcast, right? Like, we're doing it for ourselves because we get to meet and talk to amazing, inspiring people. If it doesn't go off, that's fine. It's amazing that we get this opportunity to do this. So I think that's such a great piece of advice to everyone out there. If you want to start something, just get onto it. Don't worry about the outcome. It's a process. If you don't succeed, you at least learn something, and that will contribute to the next thing that you do.
It is. And you've got to realize that life, everything you do is a coin, and there's two sides of it. So let's take this podcast, for example. I've heard people make comments that anybody who does a podcast is a narcissist. Okay, great. And then I've heard people talk about, thank God for podcasts. It's inspired me, it's educated me, it's uplifted me, it got me out of a funk. Both things are true. You have to decide which side of the coin you want to be on. And the thing is, if you believe and lean into those who think these things are narcissistic, you're going to live that path in life and get stuck really quick. Versus if you flip the coin over and see the good that can come from what you're doing, you're going to accelerate your own abilities to grow. So choose who you spend your time with, choose which side of the coin you want to flip it over, and then just move on with pace and speed, and don't look back in the other direction.
And Brene Brown said in one of her books, I can't remember exact wording, but she said, if you're not in the arena, like if you can't be judged by the people who are not in the arena. So if people are not going for it, they're not working hard on something or caring so much about something, they can't judge you for going after what you're passionate about.
Oh, look, everyone has haters. If people hate Mother Teresa, white savior syndrome. People hate, you've got a former president in the US who's on trial and just found guilty today on 34 counts of something, and people who think he should be in jail at the same time as people think he should be president. Your reality is what you want it to be.
I love that.
And build the business you want. Be smart about how you do it so that you're protecting the corners of your world that allow you to live and pay those bills, but invest in yourself.
Yeah.
And I think particularly for women, there's an important reminder that most successful women hit their success and hit their stride in their mid to late 40s.
We talked about this. Yeah. What was the data point you told me?
The average self-made female millionaire is 56.
There you go.
So
we had 20, 30 years ago.
We are ahead of schedule, ladies. We are so early to this game.
I know.
So just you can't get wrapped up in those headlines where you've got this 23-year-old billionaire, and that's the exception,
outliers,
not the norm. And what often happens with that huge explosion of success and wealth is followed by a huge implosion if a strong foundation wasn't built to maintain it. So allow yourself the cycles of life, because as women, we do get to have lots of opportunities for milestones, whether it's building a career, changing countries, moving, deciding to start a family, getting married, not getting married, getting divorced, not getting divorced. Have all those chapters. Fill your book of life with all of those adventures, and know that it's still not too late. I just read, I didn't know this one, that Vera Wang only started designing dresses in her 40s. I only thought she was 40 today.
She does look like she's only 40.
What? Please start a skincare line, Vera, for the love of God. Yeah, like this notion of it's too late, I can't start anything, I'm stuck, I've made my bed, I have to lie in it. It's just nonsense. It's not. Get up, get out, go for it.
It's like excuses we give to ourselves to get out of jail. Even though deep down you know you need to do it.
Okay, someone everyone should follow is my good friend Lou in Luland.
Okay.
She is a self-described middle-aged accidental influencer. She is so eccentric. She has this gorgeous white crazy hair. If she's not naked running through the streets of London in a tulle cape, then she is climbing a mountain naked and in a tulle cape. And she's been giving TED Talks. I'm waiting for the announcement that she's got her own Netflix show, honestly. But she created the Self-Love Revolution tour, and she bought this huge big vintage bus and drove across the US. She was going through a divorce.
Wow.
And she realized in her early 50s, life is just getting started. She starts every social media post with, "Good morning, mother effers. Today's a new day, self-love revolution." She was handing out everything from tampons to vibrators to fashion to just help women learn to love themselves and let go of whatever labels a toxic partner or a terrible boss had put on you, and allow yourself to cut that weight off you. And move forward and wear what you want to wear.
Freer.
Or wear nothing at all. Like, your body is beautiful, your brain is sharp. Go for it.
Amazing. I didn't think that we would go there, but we went there.
Yeah, we did.
Amazing.
Naked, climbing mountains.
There you go. Lots of life, like wisdom in there as well. But I want to move on to the last topic, because I know we have to let you go at some point, even though I don't want to. Can we have it all? We talked about a little bit, like with just the last conversation, can we have it all? Can we have a portfolio career? Can we still be looking fabulous, loving ourselves, looking after our families, aging parents, kids? Can you balance it all?
So I think people forgot when you say, can I have it all? They put in parentheses, but only the good stuff. No, you can't have it all, but only the good stuff. You can have it all, and you're going to get all those things you mentioned, and heartbreak, and divorce, and financial ruin, and self-deprecation, and depression, and times when you think that this was all pointless. And then you're going to have times when you realize you're the smartest person in the room, and you're the most vibrant energy that is uplifting everyone that you come into contact with, and that you are shaping young minds, and that you have an idea that could change lives. It's having it all on both sides of the spectrum. So yes, you can. You just have to decide, are you willing to allow yourself to come out of those holes when you fall in and keep going?
And so you've got so much drive in you, and you do so much. And I saw on LinkedIn you were teaching some kids around technology and all that. What gets you out of bed every day?
I'm so glad you brought up those kids. So I was invited to speak for a 7-week program for the gifted and talented class of an all-girls school up in Queensland. And I was so energized by the ideas these girls had for their own businesses. And they're thinking ahead of others. Things like waterproof prosthetics, because right now they're not accessible easily or affordably to anyone who isn't fully abled. They're thinking about how to protect those with mental health from violations in privacy and security and cyber risks. And these are young girls who haven't figured out how to put on eyeliner properly yet. Or maybe they have actually. Maybe it's still me who hasn't figured it out.
Right.
But they're thinking so beyond themselves and more into the impact of a greater world with greater good where everyone can win. And it reminds me of this movement that I heard of probably 10 years ago when everybody was obsessed with unicorns. In the tech world, we talk about unicorns being like a startup that goes to unicorn status and hits $1 billion valuation. And VCs are always looking for the next unicorn. And some female founders got together because, as we know, female founders get about 2% of all VC funding. And they're like, this is ridiculous. Unicorns don't exist. They are fictional characters that do not exist. You know what exists? A dazzle. Do you know what a dazzle is?
No.
A dazzle is a group of zebras who, when they work together, create confusion, and predators can't attack because they can't isolate one amongst the group. So it's a dazzle. And they talk about how female founders inherently come to the table when they're building their businesses with this win mentality. I don't need to win at someone else's cost. We can all win together. My business can be great and drive revenue and be profitable, and it can do good in these other areas for social impact in the community and job creation or sustainability. And so we approach metrics of success very differently. So I think about the dazzle mentality.
Right. And that's what gets you out of bed every day.
Yeah. Like the idea that if we widen this circle, we can all go further. So I better not lose my place in this circle because I want to make sure I can open it up for someone else to come join me the way that others have allowed me in as well. And I don't want to take that, or what's the word, misuse the opportunity someone else gave me.
And what's next for you, and how can our listeners support you in what you do?
Obviously, global domination.
Taking over the world.
Tina and Michelle's global domination tour. It's coming very soon. No, it's to wake up and rinse and repeat. You have to just keep showing up every single day. So what's next for me is to just keep going. It's a really boring answer. God, I hate that I'm saying this totally boring, uninspired answer, but you have to wake up. You have to keep going, and every day you get a little better. Will Smith actually says, I'm quoting Will Smith right now. Forgive me. But it's a good one. He talks about how a lot of people wake up and they just see this idea of, I'm going to build, think about the castle. Huge castle. I want the castle. You don't build a castle. You every day create one perfect brick. And if all you do every day is just create one perfect brick, you're going to build whatever castle you want. And you also allow yourself then to change what that castle will be. You haven't set your sights on a goal that might not actually even fulfill you. So allow yourself the flexibility by being consistent and creating one perfect brick every single day.
Yeah. And I think we've been talking quite a bit about you going from one height to another and just reaching more and more milestones and goals. But what about on the flip side? Like what have, like in the past when you had failures or days where things didn't go your way,
oh God,
how did you bounce back?
It's hard. I think for me, being a founder and even my current endeavors, I'm so excited about the product. I love what we're building. When people use it, they love it. The failure often feels like it hits for me in things like raising capital, which we know as a stat is going to be harder for women. But it's not good enough for me just to sit here and say, the odds are against me. No, do better. Try harder, Michelle. I use the term mom up.
Like, up.
Mom up. Like when things are going to hell, it's your mom that you call.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to have, like, you're going to keep having failures. I think the invisible army that I have is really important. So from my family, my parents, my husband, even my kids, my neighbors, you need to have that invisible army to remind you that the world is bigger than that one rejection email, that one thing that came in and got you in the heart when you feel like you're falling off a cliff and that you suck and you failed. You've got to remind yourself from others' perspectives that you crushed it over there and you're doing great over here and you really were helpful and had an impact over there, and you have to have them at your ready so that when you call them and say, I'm a moron, their response is absolutely not.
Yeah, mum up.
Yeah.
And I loved it. So we went to an event last night. Michelle shared with me that her 9-year-old daughter actually picked her outfit for her.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's great. She's been helping with everything from my makeup to my underwear. She's, Mom, we gotta fix it. I was like, all right, fine, fair. Yes. Actually, I'll just go there. I'll say this. So if anyone like is applying to, I think, all women too, we seem to buy that like one set of underwear and we stay with it through like thick and thin for like 10 years.
Sentimental values.
There's like 10 years of that bra. Everyone knows when they say that bra, there's that one bra. They're like, that's my bra.
It's a comfort bra.
It is. Like, ladies, do yourself a favor, buy a new bra.
Yeah.
Buy a new bra.
Life-changing.
You deserve it. You deserve that expense. And
it's just another piece of wisdom that
that's the innovation.
Michelle is
tech innovation
embarking on us today.
It's true of all the things, AI, co-creation, blockchain, crypto.
And good bra.
Buy yourself a bra. Get some Bitcoin, buy yourself a bra. You're going to feel great today and great in 10 years.
Yeah.
When you look at that old bra and you look at your Bitcoin balance, not financial advice, by the way.
Yeah.
Not financial advice.
While also building your currencies, whether it's networking, creativity, whatever it is that fill your cup and help you get to, it might not be quite clear right now because we talked about this a lot. It might not be clear where you're going, but if you keep following your passions or your currencies where your heart is lighting up, eventually you'll figure out where you're going.
It is. And it's, I like it. Eventually you figure out where you're going. It is true. Yeah. It's almost like the plane ride where as a founder, you imagine it as a trip. You've packed your suitcase because you're headed to the beach and you've got your bikinis and caftans and gorgeous little sets, your hat, your sunscreen, your sandals, and all the accessories. And you are on that plane, except there's a crazy amount of turbulence and they forgot to put your row of seats in. So you're just like holding on to the exit handle for dear life. There's no snacks, but they then ask you to pick up all the trash from everyone else's snacks. And then there's a crash immediate landing and you don't end up in the sand and surf. You're actually on top of a snow-capped mountain.
Right.
But you've weathered every storm to get this. So you're like, all right, this is where I've ended up.
Roll with it.
I'm in the snow and I'm now going to weave together every bikini here and make myself a gorgeous jacket to stay warm. Yeah. And that is the adventure of Founder Life, where you end up.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle, so much for sharing your life story, your work, and also a lot of wisdom with us today. And again, it's a privilege because I know you're a busy founder. So thank you for taking the time, and we'll make sure that we'll leave all of your details in the show note as well. So our audience can actually look you up and follow your journey along. And hopefully one day you become a household name And people go back to that episode, it's like, actually, Tina and Michelle had that chat
100 years ago. Tina and Michelle had that chat, and that's what we did.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in today as well. As always, we love to hear from you as to what you think about the podcast. If you have any questions for Michelle, we can try to get her back on the podcast maybe. But make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to our channel, and leave us a comment as to what you want to hear next. And for now, goodbye and have a great day.